Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crush That Exam. My name is Dr. Erica Ligons, licensed clinical psychologist and exam coach. I am so excited to share with you yet another example of a story of triumph over the EPPP. So can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are?
Hello, my name is Valerie. I am a master's level psychologist. Also got my license for LCE, licensed professional counselor. And I did my undergrad in business management with minor in human services. So I didn't have a whole lot of psychology background. So everything I learned, pretty much 80-90% of it was in my master's. I graduated last year with also a minor in addiction specialization. So I enjoy working with, when I started off working with women in intimate partner violence situations, trying to help them see where their strengths are, discover their skills so that they can, move forward. So I got really interested in that. And right now my direction is kind of going different places, but eventually that's kind of like, I feel like where my niche is going to be, is working with that population.
Beautiful. And I absolutely love working with people who are coming to the field of psychology as like a second career, because sometimes when we're going to do things a little later in life, we may question, like, do I still got it? Can I still learn the same way? And so I can imagine some of those things might have been running through your mind. So can you tell people, what was it like for you to study and prepare for this exam? Just your overall experience with it prior to coming to my coaching program.
Well, seeing how I only did the master's program in psychology, I didn't have a whole lot of history for certain topics. So diving into the EPPP, studying for it, and without a professor, just kind of getting thrown into it, my school didn't have any type of anything, any preparation for it. I only had one instructor who said, Valerie, you'll need to prepare about 6 months for it. And they, kind of told me where to go, but that's it. The school didn't help me at all. So I took my first exam and I got a really low score, like a 200 and something. And I didn't know really where to go. I had a bigger company I was working with, and I had a coach, but all she was doing was just saying, we really want you to start taking exams, and I was doing that. I was taking a lot of exams. And at some point I told her, I said, I'm okay with taking exams, but I need to learn how to keep the stuff in my head. Like, I can take as many exams as you want me to take. So I didn't pass the exam, but the first one, and I didn't really have a direction. And Google has been such a friend to me for these last 10 years. So I've been all over in different groups, and I heard about one of the clinicians that you were a part of somehow. And I went to that clinician's, kept scrolling, and I saw a person that looked like me. Oh my God, she's Black and she has ADHD. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I think this might work. This, because I just felt so much just seeing you. It just gave me like a peace. And I don't know, I can't explain it, because you already feel like this test is against you anyway in this world. So it's like, okay, if she can do it, I feel like I can. So let's see what this is all about.
Absolutely. So you felt, and I hear that from a lot of people, right? Like, I mean, we cannot ignore the disparities that are going on, the pass rates between certain groups of people being significantly lower than others.
Yes.
This is a very serious problem. And, there's something really magical about when you see someone who you can relate to in some way or another, be able to go and do something that you're aspiring to do. It just lets you know it's possible. I heard that once someone years ago had broken the 4-minute mile or something like that. The first time that had ever happened in recorded history, suddenly people were coming out the woodwork and breaking the 4-minute mile. And it was because once someone showed that it was possible, then everyone was like, well, shoot, if they can do it, I can do it too. So there's something really powerful about that. And so once you did actually start my coaching program, what would you say are maybe like the top 3 things that was most helpful about the coaching system, which included you listening to the audio program and getting my system and then meeting with me weekly?
I would say structure for me is so important because of my brain, my neurodiverse brain. So structure was so valid for me. Number 2, I would say the technique that was used to center myself before each time that I got ready to study, that was so helpful because it helped me to just kind of block everything out, tell my brain and my body, I'm getting ready to go into this zone of studying. So, it was like my body almost recognized that as soon as I did my little thing. And for me, it was a song. So it was wonderful. And then I had a different song for like when I got ready to play I had a song for study and I had a song for taking the test prep like exams. So it was like my body, it was encouraging and just kind of helping me to stay encouraged and focused. And then I think the third and biggest thing too, well, they're all big, but I don't know, is getting to the core of what holding me back.
Mm.
Because you can study all day, you can do all these different things, but if there's still some residue, maybe from a relationship or something like that, that's still like blocking you and you can't get over that hump, I think it's so important to get to that core. And I appreciate getting to that core. And, I have all these other little helps. I was already seeing a therapist, but just getting to more deeper level and then having me discuss some of those deeper things with my therapist, I think was really helpful.
Yes. Oh, so yeah, I want to reflect on some of the things you said. So first of all, the structure. I don't play around. That you have to have structure with this. And so many people don't. They're they're kind of free falling while they're studying, kind of grabbing onto this, grabbing onto that. There's no system. And that's how it was for me when I first was doing this. I had no plan. I felt like I was just swirling in an abyss of nothingness and nothing to really like hold on to. And once I
Right.
started with my snowball method, that which I now call the snowball method, it didn't have a name back then, but when I was doing it, once I had that in place, there was no stopping me, even with my neurodivergence. And so the structure is just so key. And then the second thing you said about the music, I danced my way through studying. I mean, I would take breaks and like have dance breaks when I needed to just work out some of the restlessness from studying and focusing on one task at a time. And then the day of my exam, I had a whole playlist ready of inspirational songs. So I remember you really latched onto that concept of like how to get yourself mentally ready and how to use different tools. And as you can see, it made a world of difference.
It did.
And so in my study program, I don't just teach people, here's how you study. We have to look at the whole picture, which comes to then the third thing you said around what kind of internal blocks might we have. And although, of course, coaching is not therapy, we have to look at and understand what's coming up for us in this process. And you took my advice. Well, you were already in your own therapy, but you continued with it, which was so key. Because, like you said, things would come up, we would realize a connection, and then you would take that to the appropriate place and really do that work. And it paid off, which was fantastic. So, even with the fact that it all worked out for you in the end, this process is still really challenging. My program doesn't cut corners. It really teaches you to get in there. It was hours upon hours of work. You put a lot of months of time and energy into this. So, it's not all roses. What was the hardest part of really digging into this and preparing with my system?
Um, the one of the biggest things was trusting the process
Hmm.
because I remember saying to you sometimes, but do you know how this program works? Because this person is saying do it that's this way, and this person, and it was like, you can't follow everybody. You got to just pick one.
Yeah.
And right now you got Big Sis or Erica or Doctor, or
Well, whatever.
So you got to pick one. And that was a struggle for me, because I had the program I was working with, I had my therapist, I had my partner that I was studying with. So I had all these different opinions, and and I was struggling because I wanted to pass so bad. Like, whose advice do I follow? So I had to trust the process, trust your process, and just trust that it was going to work out. I didn't want to. The other challenge that I had is that I was so focused on getting a 500, because I had a professor tell me that if you get a 500, you won't have to take this exam again. And I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to go through this again. So I was so focused on that. I was like, I got to get a 500. It just, I just need a 500. And at some point I was like, Dr. Erica, she not on board with me. She ain't trying to get me to a 500. I'm like, this is not working. So I was getting really, really frustrated, but it was not until one day I was actually sitting in a class with other PhD students, and it was a study group, and the leader was going through questions, and she was asking us to break down the question. And I was like listening to the PhD students, and they were saying all these things that I'd never really heard of or like knew what they meant. I was like, where's they getting this information to break these questions down? So I realized that I didn't have that extra information. I didn't have sitting in more years of classes as the PhD student. So I had to give myself a break and just say, you know what, I got to pass this exam with what I have, the knowledge that I have, and be grateful that Michigan lowered the score and try to work with what I have. And then when I get ready to go for the PhD in 7-8 years, I don't know, maybe they'll drop the score again. Who knows? But for me, it was acceptance. And once I got to acceptance, I could move forward.
Absolutely. I appreciate your transparency and openness about the messy middle and what it looks like when we're in it, because that's very real, And by the way, even if, the requirement's still 500 when you're done with your doctorate, by then you will have more of a foundation, you'll have more exposure. And I have worked with people who did this at the master's level, then went back for their doctorate, took it again, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So radical acceptance and trusting the process is two of the biggest things that I try to hone in for people, because it totally shifts your mindset and your perspective, right? And your expectations and your mindset is 80% of this whole thing. And sometimes it's challenging when a coach is saying one thing and we want to go in a different direction. And that's real. And that's going to happen. And that's going to come up. And that's why we have to be transparent about the fact that when we're in that messy middle together, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
When people see these videos, these testimonies, they're seeing us at the end with our trophy, right? But they didn't see the blood, the sweat,
right,
tears of what it looked like in the middle, And so that's why I started adding in that question into these interviews that I do, so that people, when they're in it, they're not like, well, geez, why did it seem so easy for these other people that made it through? Nope. Everybody's struggling through it, but it's all worth it in the end, which is great. Mm-hmm. So what would you say to someone who's maybe considering doing my coaching system, and they've got all these other voices and they're not sure what to do? What do you think should make someone say, no, I'm going to go with this coach?
Well, first of all, I believe that this system can work for anything. Once you get a plan together and you organize, because again, we have to study for the NCE licensing. So I think that once you get the concept, it will help you tremendously with any future endeavors. But for me personally, because of the severity of my ADHD, I was watching other people do I passed, little post on different groups, and It's like, yeah, I only studied for 2 or 3 hours a week. And, I only did this. And I finished the exam in 3 hours. Well, it took me 8 hours because my processing is so much slower. So for people out there who are struggling with ADHD or any type of learning, that's not considered a learning disability, but maybe dyslexia or anything like that, whatever is hindering you, I would suggest you start with this program because it's kind of like a structure for life. If you just get the structure down, I can take these ideas, I can take these things, and I can put them into some of the things that I'm dealing with in life. So although I did not pass the second time when I was with you, I increased my score 100 points from the first one.
Yes.
So that was big. And then when I finally passed 2 months later, another 30 points. So all I can say is you got to trust the process, and there are going to be a lot of people talking to you, but you may not even have the money. So yeah, get your friends involved, get your families involved, and have people to, buy you a gift certificate or something. But I think it is worth every single penny. This will be the last coach that you will need.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you for your openness and transparency around some of your challenges with learning and acquiring new information. Because there are people out there just like you and I where we can't do things in just a few hours. It doesn't come easily to us, but yet we still made it.
Yes.
We still got through it. And to see you, improve your score so much with that first attempt, I think that although that was, of course, a disappointment, I think it ignited something even more with you because you got very close and you saw what was possible. And I think that that did something for your confidence. And then with a little more tweaking, you got it the next time. And so I'm just so happy to see you now on the other side. If you want to start your own practice, let me know. I'll help you get that set up and you can just be off to the races. But in conclusion, now that you are free from the EPPP, what are you most looking forward to both professionally and personally?
The day I took my exam, my first grandchild was 6 days old in Chicago. I'm in Michigan. So all of that energy was kind of going on while I was taking my exam. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see her. I can't wait to meet her. So I was so excited to finally go and visit her a week ago. She's the most beautiful baby in the world, by the way. So that was very exciting. And for the first time, I did not have to take my laptop. I took my laptop for fun, but I left all of the extra paperwork, folders, and all of the study material. I left that at home. I didn't have to worry about looking for a library. I didn't have to worry about, okay, guys, I want to see the baby, but I got to leave for a little bit to, do my thing. But it was just so much freedom in being able to hold my baby and just like be in the moment right there. And I don't know, I get to read. That's not a book about the EPPP. I love to read, and Black authors. I get to go and just get books and just be able to read. And this is the first holiday, Thanksgiving, that I'm not studying and that I don't have that, okay, I got to get back home and study. For the first time, I'm making my grandmother's recipe of butter roll. So I'm excited about that. So I just got like all good things going on right now, and I'm excited. I'm just so excited.
I absolutely love when people pass right before the holidays and you can just go eat.
Yes.
Watch, holiday movies and just be with your people, hold that baby and just be there fully.
Yes, fully present.
Let me tell you something, Valerie. It's been a pleasure. I'm so happy for you. I'm so excited for you. You're in such a beautiful season of your life. You're done raising your kids. You get to have this beautiful second career and do it on your own terms and have fun with your grandbabies and just enjoy all of, life's pleasures. So I wish you, nothing but joy, happiness, and freedom.
Thank you. And thank you for everything and sticking with me through all my meltdowns and everything. Just thank you.
Oh.